So let's talk about a paradox that sits right at the heart of corporate security. It's a job where your greatest successes are completely invisible, but your smallest failure could be a front-page catastrophe. Yet, today we're diving deep into the world of the Chief Information Security Officer, the CISO, and we're going to explore the impossible tightrope they have to walk every single day.
You know, on paper, everything looks perfect. The annual security training report? It's glowing. We've got a 98% completion rate, 95% of people pass the quiz. The CEO can sleep soundly at night, right? Believing the company is totally secure. But then the next morning happens. And in reality, you've got 3 phishing clicks, someone shared their password, and 2 people bypassed multi-factor authentication. This is the first layer of the paradox. We are absolutely nailing the compliance checkboxes, but we're not actually changing human behavior one bit.
And this is what you could call the security training industrial complex in action. We are pouring millions of dollars into what we think is security awareness. But look at what's really happening. What are we buying? An annual video course people just click through, a multiple-choice quiz they can Google the answers to, and the meaningless certificate. And what do we get from all that? Exactly what you see here, 0 behavior change. And worse, a totally false sense of security for the leadership team. We're just measuring clicks, not competence.
Okay, so this whole illusion of security, it isn't just limited to training. Oh no, it extends to another multi-million-dollar industry that promises total peace of mind, cyber insurance. But as you're about to see, it's often just another layer in the shell game.
So picture this. You've done everything right. Your security posture is excellent, you haven't had any claims, then your cyber insurance renewal lands on your desk, and you see a staggering 97% premium hike. Why? Well, it's because your policy isn't priced on your performance, it's based on the failures and the risk of your entire industry. So you end up paying a massive price for somebody else's mistakes.
Well, a higher premium must mean better coverage, right? Not exactly. The real shocker is always in the fine print. You start reading and you realize that the very things that keep a CISO up at night, social engineering, insider threats, ransomware, are often the exact things the policy explicitly excludes. It's like buying a safety net that's full of giant, gaping holes.
I mean, you can basically just translate all that legal jargon into this one sentence. So, why even buy it? Well, it's not really for protection. It's to check another box for a customer contract, to maintain that appearance of security. It's just one more layer of the paradox the CISO is forced to manage.
So, with this shaky foundation of flawed training and hollow insurance policies, we finally get to the person in the eye of the storm, the CISO, who's trapped in what feels like an absolutely impossible position.
Welcome to the CISO's Daily Dilemma. It's a classic damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. If you say yes to a new tool to help the business move faster and something goes wrong, the first question is, why did you approve this? But if you say no because you see a valid risk and they go around you and do it anyway, and then it breaks, the question is, why didn't you stop this? It's a game where every single move is a checkmate.
Let me walk you through how this plays out in the real world. So 14 months ago, the CISO requests budget for a standard security audit, a SOC 2. Request denied. Then, last week, the sales team finds a massive $2 million deal, but it requires that SOC 2. Suddenly, it's an emergency meeting, and the question echoing around the boardroom is, why is security blocking revenue? The deal is lost, and the painful irony is the CISO is left explaining why they didn't have something they were told they couldn't have.
The big buzzword everyone loves to use is business enablement. But to truly enable the business, a CISO needs authority to actually enforce policies, a budget to find secure alternatives, and real executive support. But what do they usually get? The authority to recommend, a minimal budget, and constant pressure to approve everything instantly and never ever say no. It's not a partnership, it's a performance.
And you know, this impossible position, it's not just a professional challenge. It's deeply personal. And it creates this huge chasm between the polished, confident image a CISO has to project and the chaotic reality they actually live through every day.
I mean, just look at this. On the left, you got the LinkedIn facade, the passionate cybersecurity leader driving digital transformation. Then on the right, you have the grim reality of a single week. A ransomware attack at 7 a.m., another budget request denied, your third team member resigning from burnout and being blamed for the very incident you warned everyone about. The disconnect is just staggering.
And so this performance, it becomes a survival tactic. You have to post about the wins, right? But you hide all the losses. You share thought leadership to hide the absolute chaos behind the scenes. You celebrate the team to hide the constant turnover.
You have to project this unwavering confidence to hide the deep anxiety. It's a really isolating cycle of pretense and ultimately burnout.
Which leads us to this really cynical, but let's be honest, often pretty accurate conclusion. The CISO role starts to look less like a security leader and more like a liability shield. They're not hired to solve security risks. They're hired to be the person who can stand up in front of the board, look good in customer reviews, and, most importantly, be the single person to blame when things inevitably go wrong. The designated scapegoat.
So, in this kind of environment, what skills does it actually take to succeed? Or maybe just survive? Well, it's probably not what you'd expect. The truth is way more complex, and frankly, a lot more interesting.
If you look at a CISO's resume, it's usually this alphabet soup of impressive-looking certifications. And they're hard to get. But here's the thing. These pieces of paper, they really just prove you're good at taking tests. They do very little to prepare you for the real battles, like confronting a CEO about their risky pet project, or fighting for your budget against a hostile CFO.
And this chart, this reveals the starting truth. 60%. A full 60% of the job is just political navigation. You add in communication and emotional intelligence, and you're already at 90%. And technical knowledge, the thing all those certifications are about, a mere 5%. The CISO's world isn't really about firewalls and code. It's about navigating the treacherous currents of human dynamics.
And that brings us to the cruel paradox at the very heart of the CISO's existence. 1,000 victories, 1,000 attacks you stopped that no one will ever know about, they all go unnoticed. Your success is invisible. But a single failure, just one threat that slips through the cracks, becomes a public spectacle, a career-defining catastrophe.
So this leaves us with the fundamental, maybe unanswerable question that really defines the CISO's struggle. How do you possibly prove your worth when your greatest achievements are the disasters that never happened? It's this paradox that makes the CISO's job not just difficult, but maybe one of the most misunderstood and undervalued roles in any modern company.